From 1920 until 1972, Serbia competed in the international stage as a part of the Yugoslavia national team. Every player born in any of the countries that form Yugoslavia could be called up, but during most of the team's history, the Serbs dominated the squad. Nobody could complain much. After all, in their 72 years of activity, Yugoslavia won 2 silver medals in the Euro Championships, 2 fourth-place finishes in the World Cup, all the while everyone recognized them as the Brazilians of Europe due to their very technical style of play. Still, fast-forwarding 31 years after the country's last international match, it's clear that Serbia isn't the most successful side coming out of Yugoslavia. They have only progressed past the group stage in the 1998 World Cup and Euro 2000 as Serbia and Montenegro. While following their complete separation in 2006, the Serbs have always fell short in the World Cup group stage, and Euro 2024 will be their first participation in 24 years. But how could this happen? How could the Brazilians of Europe turn into the biggest bottlers in the entire continent? In this video, we'll analyze what went wrong with Serbia and why they failed to evolve like Croatia did. But before we start, if this isn't the first time watching this channel, please consider subscribing. I want to get this channel to 10,000 subs by March, and with your help, I'm sure I'll get there. Now without further ado, let's get right to it. For starters, I gotta leave a disclaimer. Serbia can be extremely dominant in qualifying. Perhaps due to the less stressful environment compared to international tournaments, the Serbs have had several impressive campaigns in the last couple of years. In the 2006 World Cup qualifiers, they topped their group above Spain. In 2009, they achieved the same feat, this time over France, and in 2021, they won their group in dramatic fashion with a late goal against Portugal. So, just to get this out of the way, it certainly isn't due to an individual lack of quality. Without even traveling too much back in time, I can name you dozens of world-class Serbian footballers in all sectors of the field. Vidic, Ivanovic, Kolarov, Stankovic, Mitrovic, the list goes on and on. But when the pressure rises, the Serbs simply crash and burn. So is that it? Are the Serbs genetically conditioned to fall under stress? Not really, but they are certainly genetically conditioned to get into arguments with one another. In their last 4 participations in the World Cup, the Serbs have had their campaign stained by controversy. In 2006, after their striker Mirko Vucinic suffered an injury, the coach called up his own son to the national team, which isn't anything bad in itself, except that he was a 32-year-old defender who had only been capped in friendly matches. Obviously, that call-up was seen as a flagrant case of nepotism, and in the end, all of the chaos that it sparked was really for nothing, since Dusan Petkovic eventually refused to participate in the tournament to avoid further criticism. And guess what happened in that World Cup? They were thrashed 6-0 by Argentina and lost the other 2 matches as well, finishing as the worst performing team. 4 years later, the Serbs were all alone. Gone were the days of Serbia and Montenegro, so that should have eased their internal conflicts, right? Wrong. Their manager Radovan Antic and the federation were clearly not on the same page, while the players also divided into several little groups. And despite having won against Germany, the Serbs lost against Ghana and Australia and were eliminated in the group stage. 8 years later, they were back to the granted stage after surprisingly missing the 2014 World Cup. By that point, the FSS would have surely learned from their mistakes and tried to keep the morale of the players as high as possible. Yeah, that's what most hoped for, but what they got instead was another clash with a different manager. The coach, Muslin, didn't want to deal with all that bullshit and resigned just before the start of the 2018 World Cup. As a consequence, an inexperienced Mladen Krstajic was appointed and the rest is history. But even when the players get along just well and the federation doesn't try to get in the coach's business, controversy always finds a way to follow Serbia. In the last World Cup in 2022, the Serbs looked stronger than ever, especially when you looked at their attack. But after their loss against Brazil, someone hung a flag portraying a Kosovo map with a Serbian flag imposed over it as a provocative gesture to the Swiss national team, and in particular to Shaqiri and Xhaka, who are both of Kosovar heritage. To be fair, both players have made eagle gestures with their hands, which is seen as insulting by some Serbs, but I haven't found any logical reason why they would feel that way. As far as I'm concerned, it's simply a sign of Albanian pride, not hate towards any country, so if any Serbian is watching this, feel free to explain in the comments. Either way, their match against Switzerland was already a high-pressure match. Serbia needed a win to qualify, but after all that mess, the players felt that they were no longer fighting for qualification alone. Instead, they were fighting for their honor, and once again, they fell just short. Overconfidence, overhype, only to crash under pressure. Is that it? Yes, but that's not all. I mean, how many nations can fit into that mold? Just looking back solely at the ones I covered in videos, I can already count several of them. You see, the Serbian national team has two cancers that burn its soul and hinder any chance of them evolving like their neighbors Croatia. The first is corruption. There are numerous episodes of match fixing across every division in Serbia, and almost every club is in financial trouble. The federation is no different, and their primary goal is to make money at the cost of sporting results. That's why they push for certain players to get picked over others. But even if you ignore the negative influence that the federation has on the squad, you'll still be dealt with a common problem among many national teams that the Serbs are yet to overcome: club tribalism. Partizan and Red Star Belgrade are the two biggest clubs in the country, who also tend to represent different political and societal views. As a consequence, many players continue to align with others who originate from the same club, leading to a lesser feeling of cohesion in the squads. Some might say that the feeling is slowly going away, while others still believe whenever the pressure rises, all they do is pointing fingers at each other. Ultimately, and to be completely fair, Serbia is a poor nation. Even if you compare them to Croatia, the Serbs are still significantly poorer than the Croats in this day and age. Their football infrastructure still leaves a lot to be desired, and there isn't yet a significant investment when it comes to youth football. As a result, you'll still find gems here and there, but without a sustained and large crop of talented youngsters coming on, it's difficult to build a balanced squad that can go far in international tournaments. I think the fact that Serbia can still call themselves a decent footballing side is a testament to the genetic predisposition of the former Yugoslav nations to be great at ball-playing sports. It's just a shame they aren't run effectively, because if they were, we could have an interesting dark horse for the next Euro tournament. And that is it for the video. Leave a like if you want to watch more informative content like this, and subscribe so you never miss the most interesting football discussions, stories and top 10 lists. I'm working hard to push this channel to 10,000 subs, and with your help, I'm sure I can reach that goal. Thanks for watching until the end, I appreciate your support, and I will see you soon.